and like it's breathing underwater right now, and then when it's out, it's not. It's gonna be breathing air. Like, are you serious? Like, that is like,
every day of our lives.
You can't
every pregnancy update I get. I'm like, babe, it's forming lungs today. What? Are you kidding me?
Do you know how hard it is to put up a wall, like drywall? Like that is tough. Like, let alone like an eyeball that's able to focus from here to the back wall in a split second. Like, no camera can even still do that. So I just lose it every week when you get those updates on your app.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what's happening now. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Studio North podcast.
Woo.
We are your hosts, Carmen Forsyth and
Scott Forsyth.
And we'll be doing just a duo episode today, just updating you with some life updates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we just got back from Japan. That was a big one. I feel like that was life-changing.
Yes, we love Japan. So we're trying this new thing-ish where we take a vacation.
It's this new thing called a vacation. I don't know if anyone's heard about it. Never done it really before, but it's a new thing we're trying.
Like an actual vacation. We do travel a lot for work, and we love it, and we're very grateful to do it. But last year, what?
It's just funny.
We're trying this new thing. I don't know if you've ever done it before. So yeah, we just got back from Japan, and that was probably one of our favorite places we've ever been.
Yeah.
And you've been to a lot of places, so that's saying a lot.
Yeah, and I feel like I don't know, you don't want to, everyone says Japan's amazing, And so I keep my expectations very low. So when someone tells me something, I'm just like, we'll see it, Like, I like to keep my expectations low because then you're never disappointed. You're always...
True.
Opposite of disappointed. You're always pleasantly
surprised.
I was going to say pleasantly pointed. And yeah, it honestly just lives up to everything that anyone's ever said. I think my tally is at like 35 countries, I think. No, I didn't mean it. I see, this is the thing. Every time I felt this when I came home too, and I was telling people, I was like, out of all 35 countries I've been, and I'm like, okay, that just sounds like super D-bag. Like, I don't want to sound like that. But at the same time, to give perspective, right. To be like, I've been to, all these countries, and not like, this is my first time in Japan, and honestly, like, favorite country I think I've been to date. Wow. And we got to go together, so that's what made it my favorite.
Oh.
But yeah, man, I could literally go on for hours, which I won't. But what was something that maybe let's start with you. What was something that you were either pleasantly surprised by, or something that you found interesting when we were in Japan?
I just loved how everyone was just so respectful of the space and each other. Mm-hmm. Like, everything was so clean. They take bathrooms to a whole new level, which I miss so much. Yeah. When I came home and went to the bathroom for the first time and my butt was cold, I was so sad. When I went to the bathroom for the first time, like in the public washroom, there's a sound option for privacy for women specifically.
Only women. We don't get it.
Guys don't get it, but girls get it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like butterflies and spa music for when you're going number 2. I was like, that is insane. That is amazing. It's very accommodating for families. They just, take care of everybody. And I was like, wow. Like, North America could never. We would just probably ruin all those spaces.
100%.
Yeah. So I think that was the big like culture shock for me, was seeing, how well everybody like just knows, like, okay, no, this is how we like take care of our space, my things. Like, it was just really cool to see that built into the culture. I've never seen that before.
Even I think a big word when I was there that just kept standing out was considerate. It just felt like everyone was considerate. Like, they were considerate of you when you were on the train. They were considerate of you when you were walking by. They were considerate of you when, you were at a mall. Like, everyone there was like a certain amount of respect or consideration for others. It wasn't very it wasn't about self, it was about others, which is a super refreshing from like North America, where it's no regard for others. It's only about me.
Yeah, very individualistic. Yeah.
Totally. Another thing that I think that stood out to me was the garbage situation.
Yes.
So we arrived, and first thing, like, you know, grab a coffee. So we grab a coffee, and then we just start walking, finish the coffee, looking for a garbage can to put the coffee away, and there's none. There's just no public garbage cans. Wild. And then at first I didn't understand it. I was just like, oh man, this is kind of inconvenient. And then I understood why. And then you look at the streets and they're just spotless. And from what I understood, from what I learned, it was this collective understanding, and that's been taught when they're super young, is you're responsible for the own garbage that you make. That's your responsibility. And so people just keep their garbage with them in their bag the whole day, and then they go home and then they throw it out. And so there is no need for, you know, public garbage cans. And so you don't see just waste on the streets, because everyone was taught from an early age that you're responsible for the garbage you create. How amazing of a concept is that? So simple, but it's so true. Like, you know, you're responsible for the garbage you make. If it wasn't for you, that garbage wouldn't be there.
Yeah, no one should have to pick up after you.
Yeah. And like, who are we to think, you know, I'll just put something here and somebody else will clean it? Like, that's just restaurants, going out to restaurants to eat. And like, we noticed that like the sushi conveyor belt restaurants, which were phenomenal, at the end of the meal, like, we were looking around us, and everyone, after they're done eating, they put all their plates, they put all the cups, they put all the cutlery together, and they like clean the table for the servers. Whereas in, you know, North America, we just leave the place like an absolute pigsty and then walk away. And you don't even tip there either. There's no tipping in Japan.
That was wild.
Blows. Yeah, I think that was the first thing. Getting off the flight, I think that was a big shock to me, was the garbage situation.
And it's just not chaotic. Everything's like so calm, peaceful, quiet.
Being the most populated city in the world. Yeah. Like, sorry, I'm just jacked up about it, because it's just so rare to see. You're the most populated city in the world. You have the most people per square footage, and you're the cleanest. You're the most respectful. You're the most considerate. Like, there's just no excuse. Yeah. No one can say, well, that's just how the way the world works. I don't think it is. I think for, you know, communities and cities that are looking to clean up their city, I think it's not any of these, you know, temporary Band-Aid fix solutions. I think it really starts with like education, but also like a cultural agreement from the very beginning of when you're, you know, 3-4 years old on, this is what we're going to teach our kids. And I think that's something that maybe in North America we just don't have. And I don't know how we will get that. But I think that's something that Japan has. That for thousands and thousands of years, this is just the way they do things. Respect is huge there. And that's just instilled at them at a young age. The bowing. I loved the bowing. I caught myself coming home and just like bowing. I was like, it's so sick. You're just showing consideration and respect to another human who has value. Whereas I feel like in North America and a lot of other parts of the world, it's just like, we don't care. It's just all about us and our own experience, and we just disregard everybody else. Whereas like, we're walking across the construction sites, and the construction site workers bow to us as we walk by. We didn't do anything. We're just a human walking, and they're just like paying respect, like, hey, thanks for waiting, or like, just carry on with your day. Or kids crossing the street. So when kids
were just on their own.
Yeah.
Wandering the streets.
No parents.
Yeah. Just walking home from school downtown Tokyo.
Yeah.
Like, what?
At nighttime too. Yeah. That would never happen here.
And again, like, the community or society just like takes care of them, and they're like, yep, they're just going on their way.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then crossing the street. So when they cross the street, I think they hold hands, and then they raise their hands to signal that they're about to cross the street. So the cars stop, and then the kids cross. And then when they cross the other side of the street, they turn around and then they bow.
Oh, yes, and nobody jaywalks.
No, but okay, that was wild. Talk about that. That was crazy.
Everything in Scott wanted to just run across the street because it was there's no cars, so obviously it makes sense. But everyone stops.
We're talking like the street is maybe as far as, you know, this wall is from that wall. Really, it's not that big of an intersection, and there's like 200 people on that side. Okay, maybe 100 people on that side. 50?
Maybe like 20.
Okay, I'm exaggerating. Exaggerate everything. Okay, 50 over here, 50 over here.
I said 20.
Okay. Me in the middle. 30.
Oh, okay.
30 on this side, 30 on that side.
Yeah.
Continue.
And then everybody just, it's red. Everyone is waiting. There are no cars. But everyone waits until they're told to go.
Like not even a car in sight. You can't even hear a car. You don't see a car. But everyone just follows the rule that you don't cross when it's red. Whereas me, I break that rule 10 times out of 10 here.
Every time we're in New York, he gives me anxiety.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
But yeah, it's just people abide by the rules.
Yeah. But that was also
yes, pro and a con.
Pro and a con.
Yeah, there's a good flip of a coin. It's good. That's not a saying. There's things that from. Thank you. There's a good side and there's a or like positive and negative, I guess.
Like if they take it too far, then there's no room to be a healthy amount of individualistic, like creative or pursuing your own maybe ideas or dreams. That's something that we heard from a few of our friends there, which we understand because if everyone's like, we are for the cause and we fall in line, like I get that it's hard to be the one that maybe wants to stand out or wants to do their own thing.
Or like they said it just kind of stifles creativity. Both in, the art space, but also even in like the technological space as well, whether that's apps, they might be kind of falling behind just on the software side of things of being more creative. Whereas they have been leading innovation for decades. So, I think there's, and yeah, same thing about like educating kids from like a really young age. Like it gets instilled in them where they might not think they can do something differently, but I don't know, man. I think we can learn. I think there's a lot we can learn.
Yeah.
Like I think there's so much we can learn that are just like basic good principles of being a human being. It has nothing to do with culture, has nothing to do with anything else other than you're a human being. You should just be considerate of other humans and treat them even better than how you would want to be treated. And I just remember it was just a stark contrast when I got back and like the next day I had to pick something. I don't know if it was at Apple store at Metrotown. And the contrast between Japan and Metrotown. If anyone can go to Japan, I know Michael's going to Japan. I'm going to tell him, just go to Metrotown as soon as you land and you will be shocked, culture shocked again at just the difference where people just don't care. They'll just cut across from you. They'll be yelling while they're walking. It's just a free for all. And it was one of the few times I feel like every time I come back from traveling, the feeling has always been, oh man, I'm so grateful and thankful to live in Canada because we have clean water, clean air, ocean, mountains, good food, good governance, like we're free, freedom of speech, all these things where in a lot of other countries you don't have. And so that's why we're big proponents on like while you're young, if you can travel and see the world, you're going to be so much more grateful for what you have at home because a lot of the time people just grow up in Vancouver or Toronto or just anywhere in Canada and take for granted everything. Like the fact that we can come on a podcast and I can just say something about our leader and how I don't like him and he's doing everything wrong in the world and this won't get canceled and this won't get shut down. Like we have freedom to say whatever we want to say. Like there's so many things that in other countries they just aren't able to. And unless you're able to go there and experience those experiences, then you're not able to come back and really appreciate with what you have at home. So for like 99% of the time, I've always come home and been like, man, it feels so good to be back in Canada. This was the 1% time where I was like, man, I miss some of the stuff over there and I wish we had that here. Yeah. And so now we're just like gunning for the opportunity to go back, find an excuse to go back. Yeah. I mean, it was a bit of a work trip too. Like we got to teach out there a couple classes and see the dance community out in Japan, which is another crazy experience. You can probably attest to this too, being in class with just absolute bangers. Yeah. But it was, again, one of those few times where, you demo it at the end of class and just, the piece of choreography you created, you choose a couple people that you're like, yeah, I could, you guys like listen to what I was saying and it resonated with you. I'd like to dance with you. This was the first time like I was watching them mid routine. I don't know if you can see on my face. I don't even know, but in my head, I was like the first 8 or 2 8s. I'm just like, this is fun. And then like I was watching them and they were like doing it better than me, like my own choreo. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to step this up. And so for the second half, I'm just like focusing so hard, trying so hard. At the end, I don't think it looked any better, but that was just one experience of being in that type of environment where you're getting there's just so much talent. Yeah. So like they work so hard. They put to shame all of us North American dancers. I'm sorry. Like, there's just a reason I feel like why, and I don't want to overgeneralize, but like almost everything that's Japanese is high quality. And there's a reason for that. It's the work ethic that's been ingrained in them from day one. And dance is no different. Like you just go in. I remember walking into the studio and everyone just sitting cross-legged, quiet, waiting for me to walk into the room.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like that's the way it should be done. It's just something to note that they were just patiently waiting for the instructor to show up. And as soon as I said, okay, you guys can like stand, then they stood, and anything we said, they're just like, got it, I'll do it.
They were so focused the whole time. Like you didn't have to correct. You didn't have, usually like you're so great with like motivating and like bring up the energy, but they're just like, got it. Yeah, whatever. Like, yeah. Easy. I was like, oh my goodness.
I was like, what am I supposed to do now? I'm just teaching you guys moves. I'm not like giving you even anything. I felt like I wasn't giving you guys anything.
You still were, but it was
new or like
was just crazy to watch them or be in the room and be like, oh, okay, I really gotta stay focused.
But then so humble. Yes. Like so humble after. Like I would expect, them to be that good and just like jump out into the center of the studio and be like, watch me. Like, no, they were all like took turns. They're like, nope, you can go. I'll chill. I'm just like, oh my goodness. I love it. I love that.
So it was really cool to see Dance Studio out there and then also be there for the opening of Rie's studio, Space Love. That was a huge honor and crazy timing.
Yes, it was crazy timing. Yeah. You should talk about that. Because we were trying to go 2 weeks before, or it was like a month before, and then timing just didn't work out with stuff that we had to do here. And we were like, we really, like we said, don't take many vacations. This is a new thing we're trying where we take like a week or 2 weeks and try to not work. And we're like, we really got to fit it in before the new year. And so we're like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's just pull the trigger. Random dates, no idea. Let's just go for it. And then reached out to Yusuke, got the opportunity to teach it in. And then just randomly, oh, by the way, Rie's opening a new studio and she'd love for you to teach and
collab with her. I almost passed out when Scott told me that.
I feel like everyone's been looking up to Rie for like years.
For sure.
You love her, like stylistically.
Yes, well, definitely my generation just grew up watching her, being inspired by her. And I got to hug her in not a creepy way.
She loves you. She loved you. Shout out to Rie for just being so like kind and welcoming. She's a big deal in Japan. She's pretty much a celebrity.
She's a huge superstar.
Like she just walks in the room and everyone freaks out. And so, it was cool to see kind of her in that new, it was just really cool. It was really cool to be studio owners and dancers and like teachers and choreographers and then go and witness another dance teacher, choreographer opening a space and being like, I know what you went through. I know, I knew what it took to build this. And the fact that you did, like, it almost feels like it means more for us because we're like, man, we know how much hard work went into this. So like, congratulations. Like this is huge. And then same thing for N. We've been looking up at N for years. That was my bucket. That was literally, I think probably the last bucket list item I had on my list of dancing. I had like some camps that I really wanted to do, countries I really wanted to go to, competitions I really wanted to win. So kind of crossed all those off. And then the last one was Japan. I think that's another thing. I feel like people might see, teachers traveling internationally, teaching and thinking like, it gets, they do it all the time. It just gets normal. Like they're probably not even thinking about it. And like severe anxiety still happens every time before we're either choreographing or like teaching for me personally. And so it was just really nice to be able to be in that environment where I'm so nervous. I'm teaching in a country I've always wanted to teach at a studio I've always wanted to teach at. Post-pandemic where I don't know the community. I don't know who's going to show up for class. Maybe no one shows up and that's okay too. So being in this just like kind of anxious space, but then to have you there, it was just so fun and it just made it like so much better. So I love traveling with you.
I love traveling with you.
It's fun times.
Yeah. So if you're ever in Japan, highly recommend. Well, where we stayed was Tokyo for sure.
Within Tokyo, we stayed in Ginza, which was beautiful.
Yes.
It's basically Yorkville.
Yes.
If you're
Toronto.
Shout out Toronto. It's basically Yorkville.
But we went to.
We saw Harajuku. We saw Shibuya. Another Shinjuku. Another kind of small thing in Japan. No homelessness.
Yeah.
That like we were talking to people and they're like, yeah, there's just that, there's 3 homeless people here. Because I was like, what's the homeless population like? Because being in Vancouver, we have thousands, and they're like, oh, there's like 3.
Literally 3.
And they're like they're near Shibuya Crossing, like, and the way they explained it to us was everyone knows who they are. They take care of their belongings. They like tidy them up in a neat corner, and that's just where they live. And I was like, there's no way like that. Okay. Like I know like, you guys are putting on an act here. Like we go to Shibuya Crossing and there they are like under the bridge, like with their belongings, neatly tidy I was like, that blew my mind. I was like, there's no way this guy was right, but he was.
Yeah.
And other than those 3 people, we didn't see anybody.
Yeah.
So again, I think, especially living in Vancouver and like wrestling with this question of homelessness for so long, of like, how do you, what is the resolution there to go to another, country and see there isn't any? It kind of gives hope to say like, hey, there could be a solution. What is that solution? I'm not saying anything. Don't come after me. I don't have any. I'm not even saying the way Japan did it was good. I don't know how they did it, but it was just an observation of like the most densely populated city in the world has no homelessness. How?
Yeah. Maybe
it has to do with how they're brought up. Maybe it has to do with their education system. Maybe it has to do with how they work collectively as society. Maybe it has to do with pay and work. That was one thing that we did here was like tough too, is like the really hard workers work like almost like a workaholic culture, which isn't healthy per se. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer was, but there was a little bit of hope there, I think, for, whether it's Vancouver, whether it's San Francisco, other cities that kind of struggle with that problem. They're figuring something out. So anyways, that was Ginza, Harajuku, Shibuya, Shinjuku, right?
Yes.
Checked out.
What were the 2 places we went to?
Nakamuguro, I believe. Nakamuguro and
Yep. Find it.
Nakamuguro. Oh, Shimo Kitazawa. Kitazawa. What did you say?
Shinakagawa.
That was pretty close.
Yes.
That was the one that kind of reminded Sean as well as us. It was like Highland Park.
Yes.
That was beautiful. So many cool areas.
Yeah.
Within Tokyo. And then
We went to Kyoto.
yes.
That was really cool.
Yes.
More historical. A lot more tourists.
Yeah, that's one thing we did notice.
Which was okay.
Yeah. I think if you're okay, like I think it just depends on what type of traveler you are. I think what we've learned is we're more into like getting away from people. And so sometimes tourist attractions can get overwhelming, or we just don't enjoy it as much. But with that being said, like you're in Japan, you have to go check out the shrines, the beautiful shrines.
Yep.
So that was really cool. We got to go to Kyoto.
And then we went to Mount Fuji area by Lake Yamanakako. That was probably my favorite from the trip, but
so fun just to unplug.
Yes.
You planned such an amazing trip. That was all you. You literally planned the entire thing. I just bought the tickets and showed up.
Call me a travel agent.
Yes, actually. You should start your own travel agency.
That's fun.
Oh, North Travel Agency. I can see it. But it was cool to see like, okay, the first part was kind of like the city area, and then second portion was more history, kind of cultural significance, and then last part was a little more in the wilderness. We got to see Mount Fuji on like 4 separate days, which is super rare because what did our Airbnb host say?
That she's shy.
She's shy.
She's shy.
Because like the clouds, the coverage. So some people have like gone for a week and haven't seen her once. Yeah. And then we show up and see her 5 days in a row. So sorry, but that was amazing.
Yes.
Fell in love with Mount Fuji. Anything else? And we got to kind of bike ride around the lake. Would really recommend that. Got to check out some of the other surrounding lakes. That was beautiful. Corner stores in Japan too.
Oh, yes.
Another
we were at
highlight.
Family Mart like every single day. 7-Eleven too, but 7-Eleven, we found a lot of people would go there and then take all the good stuff. So we had to go to like Lawson or Family Mart. But yeah, the best convenience stores I've ever been to in my life. And I'm really sad we don't have that here.
You can get like good food. You can get like good food. You can get clothing.
Anything we needed.
Yeah.
It was great.
Iconic.
Yeah, because I was talking to our Airbnb host. They said that breakfast is supposed to be had at home. So that's why restaurants didn't open till later in the day That's why when tourists would come and our schedule's all wacko and we get hungry in the morning, that's why everyone would go there. But that's why restaurants weren't open, because it's traditional. Families are supposed to have breakfast at home.
I love that. It was also wild. There didn't seem really any obesity if you think about it.
No.
Everyone seemed fit or just not obese.
Yeah.
Or the lack of gluten-free, lactose-free options. They just don't have that there. And they were like, no, we we were like, oh, like, could we try this? And they're just like, no, you don't need that here. It's like, what do you mean you don't need that here?
Yeah, we were looking for almond milk or something when we were staying at Airbnb, and then our host was like, no, just get this organic milk. I think you'll be okay. And we were okay.
Yeah, and we were okay.
Wild. Whereas, again, North America, everything's so processed.
Yeah.
And my stomach always gets wrecked, and yours too.
Mine too. Yeah, you've convinced me that that's been my problem. It's
After
true.
2 years, it's okay.
So yeah, that was another. I feel like there's so many.
I know. Might have to.
Iconic things. Might do another episode just on Japan. Maybe like travel suggestions.
Yeah. Or we can leave some in the show notes. Is that what people do?
Oh, I think show notes is a thing people do. Well done.
Maybe Scott will make a Notion doc for you. He's really good at that.
I love Notion.
And then we'll drop some
things.
That's
a pretty good notion.
Talking to me.
Okay, so that was Japan. That was like one of our big life updates.
Yeah.
Got another big life update.
We do.
What is the big update, my love?
Why am I so shy to say? It's so official with this microphone here. I'm pregnant.
Yeah, let's go. Pew, pew, pew.
Crazy.
Wow.
Wild.
It's happening.
I'm actually 20 weeks
20
today.
weeks. Wild.
I don't know if you can see anything.
Unbelievable.
But that's halfway already.
Halfway, babe. You're doing so good.
Thank you. But yeah, so Japan was kind of our baby moon.
Yeah.
Which is why I really, really wanted to go.
Yeah.
Before baby got here. But it's a very baby-friendly country, so we can't wait to go back.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are very excited. I'm well into my second trimester already, so...
Glowing.
Thank you so much. First trimester was rough. Not as bad as some of my friends have had or people in general, but I had nausea, crazy cravings for like childhood food, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
Cheese string, Jell-O, cereal, a lot of Filipino food. My skin was not skinning in the beginning, but yeah, as soon as second trimester hit, I felt really good. So I'm glad that we made it and everything's going really well so far. Very, very grateful. Yeah. But yeah, pregnancy is just wild.
Yeah.
Very emotional, very overwhelming, exciting, all the things. But yeah. So my due date is in early May.
Early May.
Crazy.
Hopefully May 4th. May the 4th be with you all.
I really hope not, but it's fine. Whenever the baby wants to come, it's when it's going to come.
Yeah. Just think, endless birthday parties, easy. Just pick a character every different year.
I don't want that. I want to switch it
Okay. It's all right.
Besides that.
Yes.
What else can we talk about?
Well, we've been trying. I think that's a big.
Yes.
So when did we start trying?
It actually took us about 10 months. So we started trying last October. So definitely been a little journey.
And one that I don't think people talk or like give kind of a heads up about. And then I think that is something to communicate or just let people know from our experience. And after talking to a bunch of people, then they also said, oh yeah, by the way, it takes about a year. It's like, why didn't you tell us that, when we were, but then obviously we were not going around telling people, hey, we're trying. So I get it.
Yeah.
But I think that's something that I didn't really understand or didn't know is that, it can take up to a year longer, but like it doesn't normally just happen. Like you start trying and bam.
Yes.
It's like,
that's very rare.
The rare occasion. So yeah, I think if anyone's planning on, having kids, just keep that in mind that it's a journey. It takes a while. I feel like for bodies to just get ready.
Totally. And yeah, it was just anytime we would think about like the actual due date and when that time was. I'm like, oh my gosh, that would have been wild. I mean, any time is wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think one thing is the month that I wasn't stressing about it, I wasn't counting down the days so I had to take a test or worrying about all those things. That was the month that it happened. So another thing to keep in mind, just it's so like contradictory because you're preparing to take this huge step like, oh my gosh, okay, we're going to start a family, but try not to think about it.
Yeah.
Like it was so hard not to, but as soon as I was like, okay, I just have to keep living life, I guess, because it's also my birthday month. I was like, I want to celebrate, have fun. But yeah, I think that was one big lesson, not to like really doubt yourself or think every single month like, oh, something's wrong with me. Because I went to the doctor, we checked everything, and yeah, they did say it would probably take up to a year.
Well, didn't a fertility clinic or someone said that like they won't even see you until you've been trying for a year. It's like, come back after. It's like, oh, how many months have you been trying? 3 months. No, you don't even belong here. Go home, try for a year, and then if after that, then you can come back and we can even just have a conversation.
Yeah.
Which no one told me that either.
Oh, sorry, I should have told you that.
Not me just freaking out every month wondering but it's true. It's the thoughts go like, oh, is it me?
Yeah.
Like, is it maybe I'm not, made to have kids, or maybe something's wrong with me. And I think we're just blessed enough. I think that's been the biggest thing. It's a gift. It's a blessing. It's a miracle. Like, especially
an actual miracle.
Especially for us who, everything that we do like we try our absolute hardest. We put everything into it. And normally when you try really hard, you get, results. And so for something like you said, it's contradictory, as big as a life change is, like nothing's going to be bigger than this in our life. Like this would be bigger than any studio, any location, any event, anything. Like this is the biggest thing that's going to happen to our lives. By the way, don't try hard. Nothing you can do really.
Yeah.
It's
like so out of your control.
Yeah.
It's wild.
That was really counterintuitive.
Yeah.
And then just throughout this whole process, just the fact that, yes, we've been blessed so much that we're having a human being. You're bringing a human being into this world that's going to have a soul. It's going to have a consciousness. It's going to have thoughts. It's going to have beliefs. It's going to have a life. And then it's going to have kids maybe one day. And we're not trying, like you're not doing anything. We're not like in a lab working and like creating a spine or creating lungs. Like it's just happening. Yeah. And like, I'm sorry, it's just a miracle and it's a gift, and there's so much design incorporated into that. Now, like I've always been, faith has always been a huge part of my life ever since I was young. But I think this experience has really just like removed any form of a single doubt that there isn't design involved and there isn't, a reason and a purpose for this, and that we're literally not doing anything. You couldn't give me $1 billion and a million years to do what's happening in you right now with as unlimited resources. That it's not possible. Like eyes are being created, a brain is being created that's able to have like thoughts and feelings and emotions and doubts, feet and fingernails and a stomach that works, and like it's breathing underwater right now. And then when it's out, it's not. It's gonna be breathing air. Like, are you serious? Like that is crazy.
This is
like,
every day of our life.
You can't
every pregnancy update I get. I'm like, babe, it's forming lungs today. What? Are you kidding me?
I don't know. I just think as maybe as creatives, as creators, as like, things we work so hard in doing, like, do you know how hard it is to put up a wall, like drywall, like that is tough, like let alone like an eyeball that's able to focus from here to the back wall in a split second, like no camera can even still do that. So yeah, I just think maybe that's why I just lose it every week when you get those updates on your app. Yeah. Like, this is what's happening now. I'm like, are you kidding me?
It's really cute.
Anyways, those are my thoughts on it all at 20 weeks.
20 weeks. Crazy.
Yeah. But like, I feel like we're at a really great place in our lives, and where we've got a great community around us. We've got a couple businesses that we love working in, a great team. So it's not just me and you that are doing everything, that we're able to, and this amount of support that we've received just from people telling them and getting all the reactions, which has been like amazing. Yeah, I think we're at a point now where it just makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the timing works.
Yeah. And we've been married for a very long time.
That's another big one.
Yeah. So we've had a lot of years, good years with just us. So I'm really grateful for that. And then now we get to start a family together, which is crazy. So
it's always hard giving advice. Like we've been married now
6 years,
almost
7.
Yeah, it's always hard being like, oh, this is marriage advice, when it's like, okay, people have been married like 40 years. We've been like, really, 7 years is not that long, but like it is it's long, the longest I've ever been married.
That's good.
You know what I mean, though? Like, for us, in our experience, it's easy to give advice because this is from what we live. Yeah. But I think that's healthy. Like, I think it was healthy for us to say, hey, we don't want to, or we're just going to wait because we want to spend this time together and getting to know each other and getting all the couple experiences and like experiencing the world together and doing all the stuff together. And it's just me and you, and like, we're against the world. Literally, there's times we're against the world. And to be able to come out of that and now be like, hey, we've had so much one-on-one time and we're going to continue to have one-on-one time. Got to keep dating your wife. That's a big one. And making time even when a new, person comes into our life. But I think we got a lot of that first to lay a strong foundation. Yeah. And then you need that because this is going to be hard from all of our friends that have kids.
Or even our one day of jet lag, and
that was bad. we were on edge. Ed Sheeran.
But yeah, I know there's going to be times where we're not our best selves. Yeah. And so just being able to know that, navigate through that, give each other grace. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's going to be great. You're going to be a great mom.
Thank you. You're going to be a great dad.
Got this. I'm scared.
Me too. I'm like, we're halfway there already? Yeah. Are you sure? Yeah, I think that was another thing too. They don't say, like, even when you are trying and then it does happen, you're like, wait, what? It worked? Yeah. Oh gosh. So the first, I would say like month, we were just both like, yes, we had low expectations too.
Always have low expectations.
I did have a positive test before. Mm-hmm. And I ended up getting my period. So we were, just being cautious again.
Just part of the process. Yeah. And also hearing other friends that have gone through.
Yes.
Tough times with miscarriages, but now are being a little more vocal about it or just communicating like this is just part of the process instead of it being that kind of stigma. So again, lowest expectations. So I'm just like, I don't know.
The Scott was very practical. I'm like, I haven't got my period for like almost 2 months, I think.
I don't know. I don't know. And she's like, the test is positive. I'm like, you don't know. You really don't know.
At our first doctor's appointment,
COVID had false negatives, false positive all the time.
That's and then
the doctor checked me hard on that. She's like, she pretty much laughed in my face because she was like, well, do you not think you're pregnant? I was like, well, like false positives with COVID, we had a ton of those. She's just like, okay, buddy, if this is positive, you're pregnant. There's no false positives here. If anything, it's false negatives. So I got schooled there pretty hard.
That was funny.
It's cute.
Another, I guess, cool thing. It's just been surreal, like going through all the motions. Or I know, like, you're supposed to go for your blood test, supposed to go for your ultrasounds. This is what to expect. But like to actually be going through them every single time, I'm like, this is so surreal. Mm-hmm. Like I don't take it for granted, or I get really emotional, obviously. Every time we get to a new milestone or a new checkpoint, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is, I don't know. It's very overwhelming and exciting, but
I feel like, especially for the mother, like you're feeling the changes. Where sometimes I feel like for me, like I feel all these things and I'm so excited, but also I'm like, it's not my body. Like I don't feel starting to feel kicks. I'm not changing. I'm just observing, and it's sometimes hard for me for that reality to set in because it's not happening to me, but trying to. And I feel like you do a great job of that because you just tell me all the time, this is happening. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's happening. But it just still kind of doesn't feel real,
It's real. It's coming.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I
saw a photo. I saw an image. It's definitely there and it's beautiful and I'm excited. But I think, I've heard it from a couple of my other buddies too, where they're just like, it's gonna feel, it will feel real. Like once it's in your hands, like
they're here.
Yeah. Whereas like for the mom, it's a little more of a gradual introduction to having a kid, maybe. Mm-hmm. what do I know? What do they know? What do any of us know? What is life?
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah. Sorry, I feel like this is a little all over the place, but one of my other favorite things about this pregnancy is just been able to share it with like our family and friends. Yeah. I'm the first, well, I'm the only child. So my dad was very happy, and my family in general hasn't had a baby in the family for about 12 years?
Yeah.
So it's just been really cool to see how much joy it's bringing to not just us, but like, yeah, our families, our friends. It's just a new chapter for everybody. So I think it's cool they all get to be a part of it with us.
Totally.
And made it feel more real, because when it was just us, it was also special.
Yeah.
But we were also kind of in denial for a very long time. Like, I couldn't even say I'm pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been cool. And to think this has been happening for hundreds of years, thousands of years. Like,
wild. I have so much more respect for like my parents, your parents, or just parents.
Totally.
This is a wild journey.
Totally. I feel like we could go on for an hour. We'll save it for the next podcast. We'll bring another kind of pregnancy update. Because I feel like we could just make this podcast like 3 hours long, but we want to try and keep it short.
We try.
Sorry. We don't hit that goal often. But yeah, so those are kind of like the life updates over here with the Forsyths. Going to be 3 of us soon. Hey yo. So, yeah, thanks for listening to us talk about this. And keep tuned in for another episode. We'll probably give you another life update with where we're at then. And then eventually we'll have the little kid here on the podcast.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
That'll be cute. Ask him all the questions, interview him or her.
Yeah.
We don't know. That's another thing. We're keeping that a surprise. So we don't know if we're having a boy or a girl. So
yeah. Brotherhood or Style and Grace.
Brotherhood or Style and Grace. Cast your votes now down in the comments. Is that what show notes?
I don't know. We're gonna be parents.
That's wild. I still feel like we've always been parents with Brotherhood.
True.
Style and Grace. We've always been looking out for like toddlers,
but this is like our own,
but not like a baby. Yeah. Like I refer to them as toddlers. Like they get into trouble. You have to correct them. We've had to do that for Style and Grace and Brotherhood. Like don't do that. But this is like a baby. Yeah. So first baby. Excited.
Yeah.
Anyways. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been another episode on the Studio North podcast. Be sure to smash that subscribe button. Follow us. Share this with any of your friends or family or anyone that's thinking of going to Japan or thinking about pregnancy. Hopefully we can give a little bit of our perspective if that means anything. But we really appreciate you guys tuning in, and come back next time for another episode here of the Studio North podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you.
Peace.